Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. I am spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White, and today is March 7th, 2024. So hi, everybody. Let me say hi. Christy, you saw an eagle sitting in your tree in the backyard? Okay, that's very, very exciting. Oh my gosh. And you're an ace of spades. Well, that is a big message to you. I'll talk about that if I have time today, honey. That's very exciting. Hi, Color Me Happy. Hi, Wanda. Oh, that's such nice words. Thank you. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Joy. I've always felt highly intuitive, but not psychic. It's frustrating. Thanks. Okay, we're going to talk about that, Joy. There's some differences here. So I'm glad that you actually wrote that. I appreciate that. Hi, Toby from Winnipeg. Hi, Angela. Hi, Joseph. Oh, it says, I always enjoy talking to you and James. And if I can tell you if my wife has a message for me, I'm sure she does, Joseph. And I will look when I get to that part. I won't forget. Okay, hi, Chrissy. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Elizabeth Preston. How are you doing, honey? The weather has been pretty, I don't know, a little cooler, but I know it's going to get a lot warmer soon. So that's a good thing. And what I'm really happy about are the daffodils are starting to come out. And I love daffodils. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Marge. Hi, Kat. Hi, Dr. Susie in Canada. How are you today? Hi, Lori Counts. Hi, Laura Crum from New Jersey. Hi, Lori LeClaire. Hi, Jen. Hi, England. Hi, Karen. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Vicki. How you doing? Hi, Barbara. Oh, thank you, Barbara. I'm wearing my favorite color. I can't get enough of these colors. I have a thing for colors. It has to be certain colors that I love, and this happens to be one of them. So thank you. Hi, Lux Style. Hi, Tippy. Hi, Marie. Hi, Ruth. Well, I could keep going on, but I want to, I have a lot to talk about tonight. So thank you for tuning in, because we're going to talk about, are you an empath? It's one of my favorite subjects. And so we're going to be talking about that. But I'm going to start with some astrology as we start to count down into the eclipse season. But I think it's really important to talk about what is going on right now. And actually, today is an important day, because today, and I talked a little bit about this on Monday's show with James on Both Sides Now, but today, March 7th until March 25th, Mercury is the planet for communications, and it transits into Pisces. And Pisces, it's debilitated when it's in Pisces. Pisces is dreamy, it's escapism. And so imagine you're trying to send an email, or imagine you're talking to somebody and you just get kind of jumbled up. This is a real important time to pay attention to what you're saying. If you have to slow it way down, pay attention, check your writing. It's not like Mercury's in retrograde, but it almost feels somewhat like that, because it could slow you up with thinking. It could slow you down with the way you communicate. So you really want to make sure that you are using, write your words down, as I told one of my clients today. Write it down if you have to talk to somebody, So that happens today, and it'll be in Pisces. Mercury will be in Pisces until March 25th. And on March 25th, we have the first lunar eclipse. And so that's going to be a very powerful day. And as we get closer, I'll be discussing that eclipse on that day. But it is interesting to me that Mercury transits again on that day. So there are a lot of powerful aspects that are going to be happening. Also today, Venus, the planet of love, relationships, and finances, it moves into Aquarius. And Aquarius is that humanitarian, new age technology. And what's important about this is, if you want to make new friends or join a group, that if you're looking for, different soul connections, not necessarily in love, but in meeting people, on your journey, this is an excellent time for that. But what I really want to talk about is this new moon. And we have a new moon on Sunday, March 10th. So if your birthday is March 10th, which Dr. Shirley and Pellizzeri. Happy birthday to you, Cheryl. I know it's your birthday on March 10th. We also have the Academy Awards, which is going to be fun to watch on March 10th. But there's a new moon. So new moons, we always bring, it's like a new beginning. It's the way we think of it. Now, this new moon has a serious tone to it. So this new moon is in Aquarius, okay, which is, Aquarius is, again, like New Age, humanitarian. And this new moon in Aquarius, it's in, when I talk about nakshatras, I talk about the spiritual house or the celestial house, and it's in the nakshatra called Purva Bhadra. I don't think I'm going to say this right. Bhadrapada. That's it. Purva Bhadrapada. I'm already having communication problems. That's hilarious. And what this nakshatra means for this new moon is rebirth. Okay, so this new moon actually is conjunct Saturn, and Saturn, as you've heard me talk about, is a serious planet. Serious because it's work, it's health, it's karma. It brings serious tone to everything. It's kind of like the person who walks in at the party and kind of brings the party down. That's Saturn. So this new moon is actually intensified because of this conjunction with strict, serious Saturn. So you may feel, or you may have felt this week, even kind of an exhaustion or a lot of stress. And so this new moon, which normally it's like a new beginning like this is a little different. This new moon is about rebirth. And so the questions you might want to ask yourself on this new moon on Sunday is like, what am I spending my time doing? Maybe it's time to let go of certain attachments. What's really important to me at this time in my life? And once I determine what's really important, how can I make room for that in my life? So it's a very important new moon, okay? And it brings a serious tone, but it's a really important one. So ask yourself about your life. What is the meaning of my life? And really start having serious discussions with yourself. Okay, so that's what's going on this week. It's a serious week in a serious year because it's an 8-year, which is ruled by Saturn. Also, that's Saturn. It gets in the way of everything. But that is this week for sure. So now I thank you guys so much for all of your great questions that you've left for me. And before I get to the questions, and there were a lot of questions about being an empath, which I really appreciated. So, and as you know, I've mentioned this last week, every week I'm going to do a little topic of something that I think is important. And if you guys have some topics that you think that you'd like me to consider, please, send them to me on my website. I think it's Kellee@kelleewhite.com. You can certainly do that. Or just go to my website, and I think there's an email place where you can ask, send questions. So that would be great. But let's talk about being an empath, because empaths, I'm an empath. I'll just say that. So I want everybody to think like this, and I'm going to go into, all about what it is to be an empath. But I really want to start and tell people this, that if you are an empath, and again, don't worry, I'm going to go through some lists, some criteria that might help you with this. I want everybody to know this. It is a superpower. It is a superpower being an empath. You really have an ability, if you're an empath, to know a lot, to feel a lot. The key is going to be two things. Knowing, I said this, know thy operating system. Know how you are. Know how you operate. Okay, it's like know thyself and know your operating system. Like my operating system is I am an empath. I feel, I know, and we'll talk about, my life with this, because it is, it's a huge deal when you're an empath. Okay. So I just want you to know that. And then once you know how to operate your system, it's like driving a new car. Once you know it, then you have to figure out, the best way to do it. So the best way, once you realize your operating system, then it's going to be, how do I how do I live with this operating system? What's the best way for me to live with who I have, the gifts I have and who I am? And so that means that you would be practicing discernment, and we'll get through all of this. You'd be practicing boundaries. I mean, I'm at this stage in my life, it took me many, many years to get to where I am as an empath. Okay, but it is a superpower, so I want you to remember that. And you have to know your operating system. So what is an empath? An empath is someone who is highly aware of the emotions of those around them, to the point of either feeling those emotions themselves or knowing what's going on. Empaths see the world differently than other people. Okay, they're keenly aware of others, their pain, and what they need emotionally. So as a side note, my mother was not an empath at all, but she had 3 children that were. And, you know, I was always confused by that, because she didn't, there was no coddling of an empath. There was no help with, I feel everything. It was kind of like, get in line. And I think a lot of people in my generation had that. If you were an empath, it was like, listen, we're all this way and you keep going this way. It was pretty tough, actually. And I remember years later, when my mother was a psychologist and we were practicing together. And one day she turned to me and she said, I just can't deal with that patient. Would you like to see her? She has too many feelings for me. That's a true story. And I was like, yeah, I think I should see her, actually. So, note to self, if you are going to see a therapist and you are an empath, you really want somebody that understands what an empath is. I think it's important, actually. Now, there's a difference between an HSP and an empath. And then there are varying levels of empaths. But an HSP stands for highly sensitive person. And all empaths are HSP, highly sensitive. But not all highly sensitive people are empaths. So you might be just a highly sensitive person, and that what looks like this. This top feels too itchy. I don't like the smell in the room. HSPs they don't have the empathy piece. They don't have the empathy piece, okay, that empaths have. So there's a difference, okay? And there are varying levels of empaths, and there's so many levels, but I'm going to go with the 3 main types. So the 3 main types would be like an emotional empath. That would be me. Like, I can absolutely sense. I walk into a room from the time I could walk. I knew, at the time I came out of the womb, I knew what was going on, who was upset with who, what was going on, what they were thinking. I mean, it was, I had no idea the operating system I was working with, actually. I really didn't know. I just knew everything, and I was stunned that everybody else didn't get it. And in fact, I thought that everybody understood what I saw and felt what I did, to the point where I was even in graduate school and was working with another therapist who missed the boat on a client. I said, how could you miss that? I don't understand. And it was a man, and he got really mad at me, and then I got really mad at him for not understanding what this client was about. And then it dawned on me at that moment, oh, he doesn't get what I get. Oh, I mean, it literally took that for me to understand that not everybody had this. Because to me, it's so natural. I just assumed it. Now, another type of empath would be a physical empath. And they're the ones that they can pick up a lot of stuff in their bodies. That is not me. So they usually can pick up people's physical symptoms, or sometimes they'll take on an illness of another person, where emotional empaths, that I would say I am, pick up on other feelings, okay? And then there are intuitive empaths, and I'm an intuitive empath. So Lori LeClaire, you asked me a great question. You asked me to explain the difference between being an intuitive and being an empath. And there is a big difference, okay? Because intuition is a general capability that every person has, but maybe they're not open to doing it, or they just haven't allowed themselves to really tune in. But everybody has the ability to have intuition. But on the other hand, being an empath is the ability to actually understand or to relate to another person as if you are in their shoes and really could feel their shoes. So there's a difference. Now, for me, I'm both. I'm an intuitive and I'm an empath. And so that has to do with my awareness of this. And so when you're an empath, you want to start becoming very aware of what is yours and what is somebody else's, what is mine and what is somebody else's. And as an intuitive empath, there's like a synergy, if you will, like between emotion and spiritual awareness and sensitivity, perception, and everything again goes to awareness. So I consider myself an intuitive empath. So those are the three that I am aware of. I mean, there are a lot, probably other degrees of empaths. I'm sure there are. And an empath doesn't have to be like a professional clairvoyant like I am, or, they just don't have to be that. An empath, often they're artists or musicians, but they could be, why, I know somebody who's an accountant, that is. They could be in the military. They could be your teacher. They could be, have all kinds of careers, so they don't have to just be, a spiritual medium. Not at all. So I'm going to give you a test. There's an author and somebody who I know. Her name is Dr. Judith Orloff, and she wrote a book called The Empath's Survival Guide. It is a great book if you are an empath. The Empath's Survival Guide. Dr. Orloff, Judith Orloff. She was really good friends with my therapist, so I got to meet her on a couple of occasions. And she wrote this book on being an empath. And so she says to do this, ask yourself, and this is how we can figure out if you are, because some people are like, am I or am I not? So you can ask yourself this: have I been labeled as too emotional, or am I overly sensitive? So a lot of people will get that. Am I overly sensitive? Okay. If a friend is distraught, do I feel it too? Okay. Are my feelings easily hurt? That's a big one. Am I emotionally drained by crowds? Do I recover? Do I require time to recover from being in a crowd? Okay, totally. Do my nerves get frayed by noise, smells, or excessive talk? Now, that's a big one. I mean, that's a huge one. For me, it would be, I would hear a song, and if I am listening to, if there's music out there, and if for whatever reason I can't take the music, so I'm really sensitive, I have to either have it shut down, shut off, or I have to leave. And it's caused some issues. I mean, I literally will just get up and walk out because I can't take it. Do I prefer taking my own car places so that I can leave when I please? Oh, yes, please. That is so me. Do I overeat to cope with emotional stress? That's another one. Now, some people that are empaths are afraid of becoming engulfed in an intimate relationship. That's not my situation, but it is a lot of people have that one. So she says if you answered yes to like one or three of these questions, you're at least part of an empath. But if you said yes to three or more, she says you found your emotional type, which I thought was pretty right on. So these are some traits of an empath. Empaths are highly sensitive. Okay, so you remember that you're highly sensitive. Now, again, are you HSP highly sensitive? If you're an empath, you're both. Empaths absorb other people's emotions. So that means this: you are highly attuned to somebody else's moods, good or bad. I remember when my husband, who I love so much, love him to death, he's the best. He said he'd come in every once in a while and he'd have a mood face. And I would say, are you okay? Is everything all right? Everything is fine. Are you sure? Is everything okay? Did I do something? He's like, what? And I had to learn that it wasn't about me, that he was in a space. It had nothing to do with me. So you always, as an empath, have to remember it probably has zero to do with you. Again, these are kind of things that I've learned along the way. But you can feel other people's negativity or their anger or their anxiety. It's a big one. It's a big operating system. I'm going to keep going back to that. Just remember I said that, but it's a superpower. Many empaths are introverted. Okay, you get overwhelmed in a crowd. I will tell you this, if somebody says, Kelly, let's go to the mall, that would be such a hard pass. That would be the last place you will ever find me, is going into a mall. From the time I was very little. And if I had to take my daughter to get something, I would be like we were on a mission. It would be like, okay, take us 2 minutes to get into that store. We'll be there 5 minutes. We got to get out. Oh yeah, I have a horrible, horrible problem with that. So that's a big one. Now, many empaths are highly intuitive. So are all empaths intuitive, which is, with the question I was saying, no, it all depends. Not all of them are. Some empaths are intuitive about feelings, but it doesn't mean that they're psychically intuitive. They certainly can be if they work on themselves a lot. They absolutely have that ability to do it. Okay, it all depends on where they are in their stage of development. Okay. Again, empaths need to be alone, and empaths are targets for energy vampires. So that means that they're huge narcissists. Almost, they can just tag an empath, and an empath is like, oh, they want to help somebody. They feel like, oh, they understand them, and next thing you know, they're exhausted and they're drained from these energy vampires. And it could be a girlfriend, it could be a boyfriend, it could be anybody that takes your energy. You got to really watch that. Empaths replenish in nature. So I live on a farm in the middle of nowhere. And what I love about this is it has been so healing for me, because I have all these windows all around the house. And of course I go outside anytime that it's not like 20 degrees, but it's beautiful for me to see, because it really does help with being an empath. It truly helps me a lot. Empaths have highly tuned senses. Again, highly tuned senses. And they have huge hearts, and sometimes they give too much. So you always have to take care of yourself as an empath. Most of the time we forget, Another big one is the vibe of a room really matters to you. And I'll give you an example. I had to go furniture shopping the other day in an outdoor mall. There was a furniture store that I was told to go to. And there was only one place to park, and I didn't know where I was going to park. And there was only one place to park. And it said 15-minute parking. And I was with my assistant, Carissa, and I said, we're just going to park here. And she said, yeah, but 15 minutes, that's not going to be enough time for you. I said, oh yeah, no, it would be perfect. I said, I'm going to go in, I'll be there 5 minutes, and I'll come out. She said, 5 minutes to go in looking for furniture? I said, yeah, you don't understand. I can't. She's like, what? I go, no, really. I'll go in and I'll get out. And the weirdest thing happened. I went into this space, this furniture store, and it was amazing energy. And because of the amazing energy and the way everything was laid out for me, and the kindness and the quality, and it was such a change in me. I stayed for 90 minutes. Didn't get a ticket. I almost didn't care at that point, because I had never been to a furniture store that I didn't scream running out. So I was really, really happy about that for me. So I know it's possible, but you do have to watch your space. And the other thing is, here's another big one. You cannot watch violence on television or any tragic thing. You cannot. I can't. I just can't. No way. I can't even think about it. There's also huge love of animals or pets or babies that comes with that too. And, I'll leave you with this. I mean, you could be a walking lie detector, because you'll look at somebody and go, no, that guy's full of shit. There's no way. No way. You'll know immediately. If somebody's shifty, you're going to know immediately. So how do you manage without getting drained, basically? And these are the tips that I've had to learn. You set healthy boundaries. You have to, and you have to practice it. Why do you have to practice it? Because you have an operating system, and you have to learn your operating system. What's good for you? What's not good for you? You have to learn to say no. Is it going to feel weird? Yes, but it goes back to empaths don't take care of themselves. You must take care of your operating system and yourself. You have to. You have to. So, and it could be in this lifetime, you chose, you're here as an empath, you chose to learn how to set boundaries then. And another question I got was, are empaths born, or are they, do they come in because of trauma or any of that? So here's what I truly know. When on the other side, if you we're all souls, all souls are different, and we're all at various stages of development. And some souls are just empathic souls that come to earth at this time. And when empath souls come in, we know ahead of time we're an empath. We know ahead of time that we're uniquely sensitive for this energy. And yet we want to be here. So let's say there's trauma, or let's say there's dysfunction in the family. Oh, like most families and most experiences. Had to get that in. What happens is often the psychic ability will happen. So you can be an empath. I believe that you're already an empath. I don't think an empath is created. I think you are already an empath. But what is created can be to protect yourself. You all of a sudden develop this heightened sense of psychic ability because you want to make sure that that person, that parent, is not going to screw up, or you have something you have to be aware of. So there's a heightened sense of it. But I believe that you have to be, that you're born as, you come in as an empath. I think that's really important there. Ellie says, wow, what you were talking about, what I just asked you, I find that noise and smell affect me. This has happened to me over the last 5 years. Yeah, you have to take care of yourself, and you have to listen to your body. Absolutely. And noise and smell are huge with people. Hi, Mike Vaccaro. I have to be careful not to tell anybody unless they ask. Very true. Very true. Yeah, it's easy just to blur it out, but that's very true. I like that one. That's a good one. So you want to practice mindfulness when you're an empath, because empaths tend to get caught up with what's going on around them, and you have to really tune into yourself, practice meditation. I mean, it sounds like I'm a broken record, but really that is a skill set. You have to do it for your soul. You have to do it for mind, body, and soul. And remember, you're learning to use and to navigate your operating system. You have to really think like this. I'm different. I have to learn how to drive this machine that I have these gifts. And it takes time. It just takes time. Okay. You have to ignore your inner critic, because there's sometimes empaths have this critical thought in their head, I don't know maybe I'm too sensitive. I never had that. I did not have that negative inner critic, but I know a lot of people do. So you really want to be loving and kind to yourself. Okay, everything. And you want to practice self-compassion. Again, self-compassion. It's everything to have compassion for who you are and what you're about. And another one is spend time in nature, because that is probably the best thing that you can do, is spend time in nature. So I hope that helps with people. Melissa says, I have every symptom of an empath and very sensitive to smell. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of people, Melissa. I mean, that makes a lot of sense here. So Trey says, Kelly, HSP and empath here. Yes, I work as a hotel waiter. I have to set up walls, I bet, and times to block negativity. Is it okay to put out moon water for this new moon? No, don't put moon water out for this new moon. Nope. Don't do that. But let me just tell you something. I want to read this to you, because I read this. I love the quiet mind. And there was something I always, before I have a session with somebody, I always turn to a page. And today I turned to this page, and it was really for me. And I thought it was perfect for today. If you're an empath, and if you are an empath, this is again from The Quiet Mind, White Eagle. And it's on page 73. But I just happen to love this. They talk about the whole armor of God. So again, if you look at it with your operating system as an empath, when you earnestly send out the thought of love and light, so you literally are sending out the thought of love and light, you surround yourself with light. As you give, you receive. The light which you send forth from your heart not only dispels the material and erroneous thoughts of others, it also creates a protective shield around you. This is what is meant by the words, put on the whole armor of God. And I thought that was really perfect for today being an empath, because you have to really it's a muscle. You have to really develop that muscle as an empath to survive and thrive in the world. That's the point. I mean, to survive and then thrive and helping others. And what happens is and I get asked this a lot, if I'm working with somebody, do I pull in, do I pull into their energy or this? No, I do not. I do not, because I've learned discernment. So discernment is everything. You have to discern what is mine and what is yours. And I've been doing this for so long. And again, I have it down really well of how to work with somebody so I don't feel their stuff, because I would be useless at that point, Adeline, I love that. She says, I feel like we need some survival classes. That is probably pretty true. Lori Phillips says, I'm an empath. My late husband always told me that if I expect others to have the same heart as me, I'll be very disappointed. Lori, that's so, so true. Honey, we're going to get you a card from your husband from Talking to Heaven, these are James's great cards, Talking to Heaven. I just love that saying. If you think that others are going to have the same heart as me, you'll be disappointed. Oh, honey, that is so true. Oh, my gosh. I have no more earthly worries. But I think he does take care of you, because that was a great saying. I love that. I love that. Okay, got a lot of great questions, everybody. And again, thank you for all the questions that you have. And I'm going to start with this one, Brian G. And this was a great question, Brian. Thank you so much for asking this question. He says, how does Mercury retrograde? So right now, Mercury is direct. It does go retrograde on April 1st, okay, for 3 weeks. And Mercury retrograde is when a planet slows down. They don't go backwards. They slow down. And when it slows down in this retrograde period, things break. We say, don't buy a car. So he asked this question. He said, how does Mercury retrograde affect vehicles that are manufactured during the Mercury retrograde? It's a great question. Never really thought about that. I'm considering buying a new truck, and it just says that it was manufactured August of 2023. And I'm pretty sure he says Mercury was retrograde in August of 2023. It was August 23rd, actually, to September 14th. Okay, so just know that, Brian. And if I want to be technical, 2 weeks before the 23rd. So I'd say like half of August was. So if you buy a car, is it this half or that half? And then he said, I was born in 1957 and I was born December 15th. And actually, I know that the retrograde was December 16th, but I'm going to tell you, Brian, you were born with Mercury retrograde regardless. It's just too close. So what happens, he says, so now, as you know, I totaled my truck and I bought that truck. I bought it on the last day of a Mercury retrograde. And so he really wanted to know, like, how does he says, I'm really curious about Mercury retrograde, how it affects vehicles. So I'm going to say this. If you were born with Mercury retrograde, I was, and James was, and I had to get over this. There tends to be a struggle with either communication in general or verbalizing or listening or something. You have to really, it's more than that. It's actually overthinking things. And I know that you're a great overthinker, Brian. So here's the thing about, if you wouldn't purchase a car during Mercury retrograde. I would not. So if a truck was, built during that time and you see it, with your history, I'd probably pass. I'd probably try to do the best I could. I hope that helps, Brian, because it could affect it, It could affect it. Okay, this is from Gina Ruda. She says, Kelly, I love watching you and James every week. Oh, it's so fun, isn't it? She said, I'd love a mini reading, and my birthday is January 13th. So January 13th is an ace of spades. And you'll hear me say January 1st to January 13th. That's a big ticket time to be born. A very important time if you're born from the 1st of January to the 13th, because it's all spades. And spades take on every lesson of every suit. So an ace of spades would take on the ace, like an ace of hearts, the emotional the emotional piece of it, relationships. Ace of clubs would be learning. What am I learning? Ace of diamonds would be values. And an ace of spades takes all of that on. So it's a huge karmic placement, and it has everything to do with the deepest part of the well of spirituality. So I hope that helps. Okay. Barbara Dennis, she says, Kellee, Kellee, last year was difficult for me to say the least. I had health issues and relationship problems. She said, my birthday is October 5th. So what does it look like? So this year of 4 of diamonds, since your birthday is October 5th. And so this is a 5-year for you. So here's what I would say for a 4 of diamonds in a 5-year. I'd say there'll be a lot of changes. And what you want to program your brain to say is, I'm through with what I had last year, and now I'm going through some great changes that will bring me to an incredible place. Okay, you have to think like that, Barbara, because 4 of diamonds can easily spin down a negative road. You want to stay in the most positive road possible. Okay, I hope that helps. Tippy Landa says, my niece is an empath and struggles taking on her mother's feelings, and has to learn how to not take on her feelings, and has gone into therapy to set boundaries. Such a struggle to have. That is, Tippy, one of the hardest ones when you have a mother that has is a possible narcissist, I'm assuming, or, anything in that realm. Really, really hard. But they choose each other before they come in. So she would be, your niece as an empath, again, has to learn her operating system. I'm talking to left brain people when I say that. Their operating system, she has to know who she is, know thyself really, really well. And setting boundaries is everything. Okay. I mean, good for her. It's a big deal. I think it's a big deal. Christy Werner, first time seeing you. Oh, thanks, honey. I enjoy. Thank you for watching. And so your birthday is February 24th. So let's look into February 24th. February 24th is an ace of diamonds with a 5 of diamonds. So an ace of diamonds is, we call that for love or money. Every once in a while, I'll find an ace of diamonds that literally has the love of their life. And you know who I'm thinking of right now, Vicki? I'm thinking of you. Or sometimes they come in for business and for financial to make money. I do know this, they're deeply spiritual. It's an amazing birth placement, because it does lead you down the road of what's important in your values. Okay, I think it's important there. Carly writes, she said, I just Googled and found out that you were born in retrograde. Yeah, if you're born in retrograde, things might be a little slower for you, getting things finished, getting things done. For instance, my book. Could be, because James and I are both with Mercury retrograde. Who knows? It could be that. Could be as simple as that, for God's sakes. I don't know. So funny. Okay. So I wanted to, so Ann Gabb, I love that you said this. She said, with regard to being an empath, she said, it was quite a surprise to me when I finally realized that not everyone felt all the feels I was feeling. Again, me too. I was stunned that everybody didn't get it. Like, how could they see and miss this? I didn't understand it, but they can't. So she says, Kellee, my granddaughter is due to be born on April 26th. Fantastic. So she'll be born right at that conjunction. She'll be really amazing, because there's that big Uranus-Jupiter conjunction on April 20th. Ooh, that is going to be one special baby. And if she is born on the 26th, April 26th, she'll be an 8 of clubs. 8 of clubs is all about thinking, mental, very intuitive, in their head a lot. Really smart, uber smart. And in Vedic astrology, she will be in Aries. I hope that helps. Okay. So Ernestine Bean, thanks for asking this question. She says, I'm curious if you have any insight into the correlation between astrology and palm reading. She goes, that'd be a great topic. Actually, it's a great topic. So when I was, I think, 5 years old, we had a friend that came to stay with us, my parents' friends, and she was a gypsy. That was really, She said, I'm from Hungary and I'm a gypsy. And she taught me how to read palms. And it was really an experience, I tell you. I'll never forget that. But so what is the connection? She said, all right, I just want everybody to know that palm reading is practiced all over the world. And it actually, from what I understand, began in Indian culture and gypsy fortune telling too. And the whole idea of that is to, look at the aspects and the character of somebody's hand by studying the palm of their hand. But in astrology is different. Astrology, we look at, the stars and where they are relative to where the person is when they were born. But both of them, what they have in common is that they're both divination tools. So they're tools to look at the future. So, they're people can do tarot cards, people can do all kinds of things. So it's a good question, though. I thought that was a good one. Marge Renzi, she says, hi, Kelly, I'm definitely an empath. She said, I constantly worry about people and their hardships. And I'll tell you why. She said her birthday is March 26th. And I'm going to tell you why, honey, because you're a 10 of clubs. March 26th is a 10 of clubs. And 10 of clubs, they have a brain that has a brain. And they are very concerned with other people. I mean, it is amazing. And you said that you have a grandson whose birthday is August 5th. And you said he's the sweetest kid and he has traits of an empath. So he's an 8 of diamonds. And 8 of diamonds comes to look at value. So he'll be a highly advanced 8 of diamonds. Sometimes 8 of diamonds are not as advanced, particularly the boys. But when the new ones that I'm seeing coming in are highly advanced. So they're here to change the direction of values. And that's a very important trait. My little grandson, when he was 4 years old, when August was 4 years old, he came home from school one day and he said to me, Gigi, my teacher doesn't like me. I said, your teacher doesn't like you? No, my teacher doesn't like me. Okay, I'm ready to kill, And I said, what do you mean she doesn't like you? And he said, she doesn't like me. I said, do you know why? And he said, no, she says I asked too many questions. So I told my daughter and I said, I'm telling you, August is an empath and he knows that this teacher doesn't like him. And she said, oh, Mom, I'm sure the teacher is busy. And I said, I'm sure the teacher is busy, but he's an empath. He's going to feel everything. What 4-year-old goes around saying that? And he is an empath. He is a, chip off the old block here. So you have to, deal when you have children like that as a teacher, you have to really be aware of their sensitivities of what they are picking up from you. They can pick up everything. So you have to be really, really, careful about that. Hi, Vicki. Oh, I love hearing about August and Lulu. Well, August is at a concert, his first big boy concert tonight with his parents. Lulu didn't get to go, but his first big boy concert, I think it's called, what's it called? I think she told me Fallout Boy or something. I was like, what? I have no idea what this is, but that's where they are. That's where they are tonight. So let me get you a ticket. Whoops. Hold on a second. Okay. Vicki, here's a card for you. We are soulmates. There you go. That's true. And I have a card for Lori LeClaire. I know it's your beloved husband Jim's birthday in spirit. And here's a card for you. We will be together again. There you go, Lori. I hope that helps you tonight. Okay, Lori Crum. Hello, Kelly. She says, it's so chaotic with my daughter now, and it seems like a whirlwind of chaos and sadness that is swirling around us. I can feel her pain as well as others greatly, and I feel so drained. Is this just the craziness of the month, and will it get better? So her birthday is 11/3. So first of all, let me just say this. It's really hard when you're a mother and you're an empath and you are watching your child have something. I wasn't joking when I said, when August told me that, I was like, I went to kill. I was like, I don't have another switch, and I'm the grandmother. As a mother, I was like, it's just like fierce with this. And it's so hard when you feel their pain and suffering. And you have to remember this, that they're on their own journey. And it's something that no matter what, and Dawn, who's listening to this, is like, Kelly, I go right to, okay, I'll fly, get on a plane right now. He knows that's how I am. And yet I'm telling you and everybody, they have their own path, honey. So her birthday is 11/3. So 11/3, she's a 4 of diamonds. Oh, 4 of diamonds with a king of spades. Yeah, she will come out of everything. She's actually more powerful than she could ever imagine. More powerful than she could ever imagine. Just remember I'm saying that. But it is a crazy month, and we're headed into more emotions because of this lunar eclipse. We're already just about in eclipse season. Like this week, we're going to head right into it. So everybody watch your emotions, because they are going to be large emotions. I think these are going to be, large emotions. That for sure will happen. Okay, so, and Rick, I loved your question. Rick used to ask, he said, Abraham Lincoln is a great example, he said, of a most amazing empath. I would totally agree. Who used his gifts for immense impact on his world. Absolutely. He said he was a great storyteller, a great listener, and he's curious and astute and truthful and sensitive to the emotions of others. Yes, he was, actually. He also worked with mediums, which I thought was really sweet. Here's my question. Assessing our own empathic ability against the criteria, how do we know if we are empaths? So again, everything that I was saying about how do you tell if you're an empath, take listen and take a lot of notes for that. And there are a lot of things online that you can, tests that you can take also. But, we said people are too tough on themselves, or they answer the way they want it to be. Well, that, as a male, you might be. That might be for you. But I think you are an empath, Rick, because you're asking the question even. I think you are an empath. And you're an ace of spades, honey. So I think you are an empath, frankly. So, okay. Okay, Maria Carpdiem, she says, hi, Kelly. When you are an empath, how do you shield yourself when you're helping others through healing methods or psychic readings? So, and you're a 622, so you're an 8 of clubs. So here's what I can tell you. You must practice discernment and have awareness to everything about you as you're doing a reading. Okay, you have to, so you can help others. And it's a muscle, Maria. I didn't get this overnight. When all of this started happening to me, if somebody, had Mexican food, I'd crave Mexican food. I was so, oh my gosh, did I have a lot to learn. At the time I remember thinking, oh, I know it all. I didn't know anything compared to where I am now. And that took years of dedication, of meditation, dedication to my work, and really learning and studying. And there's no spiritual bypass. And when you're working with others, the more you work with others, the more you learn about yourself. I can't tell you that. But practice discernment. And again, learn your operating system. What really makes you tick as an empath? Because it's another lens to use. And then you'll realize there are people that'll be in your life that are empaths. You'll realize that, and then you'll be able to help them. Because I think that's really important. I think that's really important, frankly, of helping others that are, empaths here, because that's important here. Jody Jenkins, she says, what is that thing that I tap into which shows me my real-time experience from outside of me? Always watching, always showing me what I'm doing or thinking. So what's that thing that you tap into that shows you real-time experience? I don't think I really understand that question. Again, I'm going to say something, I don't know if it fits here, but anytime that that you experience something in real time that's outside of you, bring it back into a deep meditation, okay? Because I think that would be a great way to kind of align you. That's what I think. I think that you would do it. Okay, Anne Margaret, let me get you a card here. I have not gotten you a card for a while. Let me get you a card, and this is from the Power of Love. Let us see from the Power of Love here. Freedom. You are releasing any self-imposed restrictions or perceived limitations through the loving energy of openness. Oops, there you go. Hope that helps you. There you go. There you go. So hope that helps. Wendy Bowden, she says, a card for me. My son and my husband are on the other side. I was on the cruise with you and James. Well, hi, Wendy. Well, let me get you a card here. My goodness. I have your husband and your son on the other side. So they say, I'm sorry, would you please forgive us? And I think it's probably because they both passed. I'm sure you have forgiven them, Wendy. That's hard when you lose people, isn't it? I think it's really hard. And you know what, Wendy? I'm going to get you another card too. Here we go. Humility. You have developed the loving awareness that you and everyone else are the same, but on different paths. So you'd have to understand that both your son and your husband were on different paths than you. Isn't that how that works? Okay. Robin Rosser, would you please pull a card from my beloved brother's birthday today? Absolutely. Here we go. You have nothing to feel guilty about, Robin. I hope that helps. Nothing to feel guilty about. Always a good one. Okay. Angel Bridges, my husband truly enjoyed your reading. Oh, thanks, honey. I had a great session with him. He's a really sweet man, a really good guy, really super, super guy. Okay, let me get you a card. Here we go from Cooperation. In your quest to manifest the energy of love, you realize that every person and experience has value. There you go, honey. There you go. Everybody does. Yeah, Karen, don't mess with the grandkids. Is that the truth? That's very funny. LB, do you use the Destiny cards to get the suits for your birthday? Yes, I do. So your birthday is 12/27. So 12/27, December 27, is a Four of Hearts. So Four of Hearts has a lot to do with family and family issues, taking care of family relationships, being in love, being in a relationship. Relationships is everything to a Four of Hearts. I hope that helps. Let's see. Julie Musterman, did you hear about the loss of the reality star Garrison from Sister Wives? I think he had feelings and didn't know how to navigate them. I heard about it, but I don't watch that, Julie, so I'm sure you're right. I remember thinking something was off there. So thank you. BJ Mashkinsky, thank you. I love your energy. 7/21. Thank you. So 7/21, July 21 is a 7 of clubs. Okay, so 7 of clubs is, and Dr. Susie, if you're listening, you're also a 7 of clubs. And I know you had asked about, what your purpose is. So 7 of clubs is here to bring spirituality ultimately to themselves and to others. Very powerful card of releasing toxic environments, negativity, and having integrity, using integrity in situations. That is a 7 of clubs. Okay, it's a really deep card. Okay. Lisa Maitland, she says, we have all been seeing and feeling all of the heightened emotions of our sweet elementary students for the last 2 weeks. I always know when something is happening by the planets, by the way the kids are experiencing it. I feel they feel it stronger because of their ages being so close to birth. I agree, Lisa. I totally agree. And, we have an eclipse coming up. Well, we have 2 eclipses coming up. So watch their energy. The first eclipse is March 25th. And it's a lunar eclipse. So it's going to bring up a lot of emotion for people. And kids, absolutely. The second one is on April 8th. And it goes straight through Dallas and Fort Worth. And that's where my grandkids are. And I will tell you that anytime there is an eclipse that goes right through where we are, it's life-changing. It changes lives. And these are large eclipses. So watch their energy. And I really appreciate, that you understand that their emotions might be heightened. They will be, for sure. Thank you for saying that, Lisa. I really, really appreciate that. I do. To Ellie, do I still like cinnamon? No, I think I'm off my cinnamon thing now. I was so on it for a while. I thought about that the other day. I had to put some cinnamon on something, and I was like, I don't think I need as much anymore. It was a quick trip into the cinnamon land. Okay, Don Riches, what is the difference between intuition and being an empath? So everybody has the ability to have intuition. Intuition is that knowing something. But it doesn't mean that if you have intuition, that you are an empath. My mother had strong intuition. Absolutely not an empath. Zero empath. So they are mutually exclusive. Now, you can be an empath with intuition. That's what I am. And many of us are. Many of us, because we've had to cultivate this operating system. And when you start putting together this operating system of who you are and what you're about and what makes you tick, you start to see that intuition. You get in touch with who you really are. Oh my God, the sky's the limit. There's nothing you can't do as an empath. Empaths, it is a superpower. Just remember I'm saying that. Initially, it feels like, oh my God, I remember used to thinking, God, I wish I could feel this, and I can't take this. And now it's, I understand how to work it, and I do, and I can teach people how to do that. So Patty Campbell, 1114. So you are 1114, November 14, and you are 6 of clubs, which is highly, highly intuitive. She said, I'm an empath, and I finally learned how to shut people off, or rather shut myself off when I know I can't take them on. Yes, that makes total sense, Patty, and absolutely, absolutely correct. What you do is you literally, it's, like, James would say, put a cloak around you or just shut it down. You have to learn it. It's a muscle. And that's, by the way, the only way I can go into a store or a party. If you have to go to a party, most empaths just, if there's one person there or two people, that's good. Once you get like a group and there's a party, oh my gosh. It's a tough one. Again, I always have a plan. I always tell my empaths, have a plan, get in, get out. It's 10 after, we got to go. You want to stay? Okay, I'm going to take an Uber out. I'm serious. I have a panic attack if I can't get out fast enough. It's the strangest thing. Anyway, everybody, let's see. Okay, Rose Oliver Lee for July 8th. So if your birthday is July 8th, you are a 7 of diamonds. 7 of diamonds. It is, we call that the millionaire card. And the reason we do is because once you learn to be only having faith and being on a spiritual path, then you have this amazing opportunity to make a lot of money. It's a really interesting piece. But also, Rose, there's always a situation that you have to work on with regard to relationships. And remember, everybody that comes to Earth has 1 or 2 or 5 things to work on, or more. It's not like, and I was listening to Dolores Cannon talk the other day, and she's passed now, but she was a wonderful spiritual teacher, wonderful. And she did past life regression and just wonderful. And she said, if you look at somebody and you think they're having an easy life, like they don't have any problems. She said they are probably having a resting life. And she said they either from a previous life that was so challenged or resting because the next one will be so challenged. I thought that was an interesting way, because every once in a while I'll see somebody with an easier path. Not really in my line of work, but I have seen it. I have seen it. Anyway, so everybody join me and James on Monday. We're going to have a special guest, and it's going to be a great show on Monday night. I'll be talking more astrology, and my April calendar is up right now, and I tend to sell out pretty quickly. So my April calendar is up. So if you'd like a session with me, go to kelleywhite.com. And if you have any ideas for me as quick topics for me to talk about, let me know. All right. And thanks, everybody. Have a great week. And I look forward to seeing everybody Monday and next Thursday. Take care.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.